The very best bass anglers in the world have an uncanny ability to understand what is going on under the water. And when this sixth sense starts to click for you, suddenly you sit back and you're like, oh, that's what was going on. The simplest way I can try to put this into words is by understanding the power of three, and I mean three of something. That can be structure, cover, or weather elements. Well, let's get into some concrete examples. The first one is here underwater. We can see bass traveling along this brush edge. That's the first thing that we noticed. But let's apply why when thinking about the number three. We have the natural edge from the ends of the brush. We have the natural end to the vegetation, and there is a bare ditch-like stretch where the brush and vegetation almost meet. Three factors that create an extremely defined travel route that I see bass using on this lake all of the time. When an angler enters this pocket and has figured this out, it completely changes how they may make their first casts. Working a lure for the longest stretch of this travel route is much more likely to get it in front of a fish as opposed to hitting pinpoint spots from this angle. Well, here's another example, this time from Google Earth. In this situation, one of the three factors, and one could probably argue the most important factor, was the wind. It was coming from this direction down the length of this very long bay. The wind, factor one, had piled the microorganisms into this pocket created by this tiny point. In response, the bait fish, factor two, were extremely thick right here. And the third factor, the actual structure of the point, held them right here for an extremely long time. The number of bass my brother and I caught in this really small area was mind-boggling. The best day as far as numbers I have ever had in my life. Now here's another underwater example. This is one of my favorite situations because it is so often overlooked by other anglers on the water. Factor number one, what I like to call a 45-degree bank. I just love these. Quick access to deeper water without moving far horizontally. Factor number two, a laydown that stretches down the entire length of this bank, and where it ends, it intersects with factor number three. The vegetation stops, creating another natural edge. Now here's the same area from a different angle. We can see a smallmouth moving towards this spot. This convergence of three important factors holds bass all the time. But most other fishing pressure focuses up here and not on the deep end of this particular tree. When you catch a bass, when you're out there, see if you can mentally piece together that puzzle, and you may have just found yourself an incredible spot that can produce a pile of fish on that particular day. And hey, if you'd like to watch a video that compares two different soft jerkbait rigging methods and see them side by side, go ahead and check this video out right here. And make sure that you go out and encourage someone today. You never know how you might just change their life. For the Bass Fishing Life, I'm your host, Steve Rogers.